Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man, and as always, I thank you for coming to my channel. I guess as far as pertaining to this video, and everybody is different. We all are born. We all enjoy our era, whether we do or not, but we have our era. And then the next era come in. We die off, then the next era generation come in, so on and so forth. And as you get older, you have a very interesting perspective on things, like with music. I'm glad that I was born in the era that I did, because I would not be the caliber musician that I am. If I was only 20 years old right now, I'd be just making beats. And there's no disrespect for people that do that, but I'm like, it'd be a good idea to learn an instrument too and make beats. Because then you can even make better beats. Because if you're a musician, you get an idea of what kind of beats you want to create to put on top of instrumentation like guitar and bass and keyboard, And also this new thing of, you got the tab for that? Poor man's cheat sheet. If you learn how to play your instrument, you don't need finger placement. You know where you're supposed to go throughout the neck of your guitar, And this is by no means criticizing what's going on now and what's new, but you would like to think and feel that as time progresses, things get better and they improve. Like the musicians of the 50s, 60s, and 70s, great caliber musicians, and you would like to think that, moving forward, the musicianship gets better instead of digressing and falling off. Because I look at some of these advertisements for certain things regarding music, and I'm kind of taken back. And here's one. I'll give you an example of my era and the new era. My era, we created our music, meaning that we sat down, we played piano, we could read, we can write, or we played guitar, we played bass, we put it together. This is our composition and contribution to the musical world. We're musicians / producers / engineers or whatever. Now, fast forward 30, 40 years later, young folks that want to be music producers can't even play an instrument, can't sing, can't write, can't read, and they rely on people that can do that, and they take parts of their composition they call royalty free, and they use them in their song. I'm like, well, if you're using this guy's inspiration, where do you fit in? Other than putting it together like a puzzle and then putting your name across it and taking credit. It's like, I don't get that. If I wrote it, meaning that I wrote the instrumentation, I wrote the lyrics, I did the arrangements, or I had help in that effort, but it initially came from my fingers, from my heart, from my brain to my heart, to my fingers, as opposed to now you just go online, buy what's called a MIDI pack, and this, incredibly talented guy plays piano, and you take snippets from his creation and put it in what you call now your creation. I'm like, that's no creation from you. It's just you putting it together again like a puzzle. But again, that's the new era. But it's unfortunate that, again, we're digressing instead of progressing. It's like, shouldn't we be better now on instruments? With this technology and the things that we have? Because when I was growing up, there was no YouTube. There was no internet. There was no connection to the outside world other than, a close proximity or someone you can call on the phone or you can personally, physically meet. But now with all this new technology, it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing as far as, instead of you learning how to play, now you just relying on some dude on the internet that know how to play and try to mimic him. And it's like, that's not going to make you a good musician. But again, things are different from where they were 50 years ago, and they were different from where they were 50 years earlier. But I would like to think and would like to see, and it's not going to happen, that we improve, we get better. It's like, oh man, I'm better than the guys 30 years ago because I got, these tools now that can help me become a better musician instead of, just the opposite. And I'm going to share a personal story, and I'm not naming any names because This example fits that example perfectly. I went to high school with a guy. Actually, we went to grammar school together. And all his life he has struggled, always had low paying jobs, I've been blessed because I've always had pretty good paying jobs, made a good living, really never struggled in my entire life until I got sick, but that was momentarily and I got back on my feet, but I wasn't, on skid row by no means. And he had been struggling all his life. Then he got lucky and found somebody, and actually she's quite older than him. She had a really good job. So his lifestyle skyrocketed, and instead of embracing that, he did the opposite. He stopped working, sat around the house where she went to work, and then she left. And it's like, man, you had something good, and it's still a building on that. You decide to kick back now because you feel you don't have to do that much, even though you weren't doing that much in the first place. And again, it's like, still taking advantage of, hey, now I got a little pressure taken off me as far as finances, the rent, the bills. So perhaps now I can go back to school, because I'm living pretty comfortable now. I can go back to school, get a degree, then get a better job and kind of match my spouse, financially, But instead, he did the opposite. He said, nah, I ain't going to work because I don't have to. She go to work every day. Oh, now I can just sit home and watch TV. And then she used to, and I shouldn't be saying all this, but I'm just trying to make a point. She was literally walking distance from her really good paying job. When they got together, got married, he moved her out to Griffin, Indiana. Klans country, being a black dude. He didn't really have a job out there, but I still don't know why he decided to do that, and she went along with him. Now she's taking 2 buses and a train to get to work when he's take her 20 minutes to walk. So it's like, man, that's kind of selfish. And actually, you didn't took the situation that was good down. But again, I shared that story as far as an example of all the technology that we have now that could make us or the young generation better musicians than we were or are. But instead, they've taken this technology and they became even less effective as far as creativity wise, because now they rely on somebody else to do this, and then they take pieces of what this guy's doing and putting it into their composition. There's these MIDI files for drums. I'm like, I want to create my own drums, Instead of I go somewhere and get kind of, I guess you call it generic files, and now it's like, now my composition run the risk of sounding like somebody else because they got the same drums in their stuff or the same piano. That was unheard of 30 years ago. You wouldn't hear a piano part that was done by Maze on the Earth, Wind & Fire song, because Earth, Wind & Fire would do their own, Maze would do their own, and so on and so forth. But now, you got a handful of creative people, and they taking from them and so-called putting it into their production, But again, that's today's technology. And let me just say this and close this off. It's just unfortunate and sad that, again, with all this new technology, that we don't improve in certain areas like music. Instead of being even better guitar players or better piano players or better drummers, everything is automated. Somebody else did it for you and you using it, Till next time, take care and thanks for watching.